Now, there is something very interesting about the way Mr. Prager puts this.
Without God, there is no moral truth, only moral opinions.
This formulation is actually quite typical of Mr. Prager's writing, from his commentary on the Bible. If the God introduced by the Hebrew Scriptures exists, life has ultimate meaning. If man is not created by God in the divine image, the human being is stellar dust, the product of random chance, no more designed or significant than a grain of sand. Only if there is a moral God do right and wrong really exist. Only if there is a God who created man and made him in his image is man worth more than any other creation. Now, given all this, you would think that if the existence of God is so pivotal, he would be ready to present a slam dunk proof that God does exist, that God did author the Bible, that God is moral, and so on. Or at the very least, Mr. Prager would be working furiously to make certain these things are established beyond any doubt. Because if they're not, all those ifs just evaporate away and Mr. Prager is left with nothing at all. So where do we go to find Mr. Prager's proofs or demonstrations or evidence for these foundational propositions? Nowhere. Although Mr. Prager says he believes in these principles, he doesn't make any effort to establish them at all. What's going on is that Mr. Prager doesn't feel that he can actually demonstrate any of the theological claims of Judaism or Christianity. That God exists, that God created the universe, that God dictated a Bible, that God is good, and so on. But he thinks that people believing those things will lead to some desired behavior, whether or not they are actually true. Mr. Prager's approach to faith is entirely instrumental, if not outright political. Not is it true, but does it work? And to his mind, if it works, if it gets him what he wants, then it doesn't really matter if it's true. Now, he doesn't come right out and say this because he knows that for most people who are religious, the truth of religious claims has primacy over the mere functionality of such claims. If it's not true that Jesus was crucified and resurrected, there is no Christianity. You're not going to tell people, no, it all still works, just pretend that Jesus was resurrected and it's all still fine. That's not going to fly. But what he is saying is that the idea of God is just so useful to what he wants to do that he's going to run with it. God is a political tool, a useful contrivance to make people behave in certain ways.